Hello, everybody. Welcome to Grave New World, our Buffy the Vampire Slayer TTRPG. Tonight I have joining me are my wonderful players. We have somebody who is new. That's the word. The word is new. Um, and don't worry, that Kyle will be back in the future. He is just not feeling well tonight. But let's start with Eddie, who's coming to us from his phone tonight.
Live from a basement somewhere in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. It's Eddie Elfman, an Edmonton-based voice actor. Hi. My computer. I need more projects so I can buy a better computer. It does all the things except for startup. So that's been my life for the past 25 minutes. So apologies to everyone who's been waiting patiently for my links to go up. You can find them right there at my link tree, all the social medias. I'm not on X, so I'm glad that that's not confusing anybody. But I am on Threads and the Gram, things like that. Um, come watch me every Monday night as Miss Cheryl Da, and then also on Thursday evenings as Mizio, the Oathbreaker Paladin, as we try and gather together all of our allies to stop an ancient god from, I don't know, resetting the universe. That should be maybe wrapping up in the next few weeks,
That
and
sounds like a serious problem.
might have some familiar faces. Yeah, it's very, very scary, and I'm a very low level paladin in
Oh
perspective
no.
for that.
Oh no. How about Mana Queen?
I couldn't figure out if I was muted or not. So that's how my week's been, everybody.
Hey.
I am Mana Queen. I am here, but if you have trouble hearing me, I am so sorry. Chat, feel free to just tell me to say it again, or anybody here. My voice is also a little bit on the I project. Let's see, every Monday night I am here playing Ash Lexington, our lovely Slayer in this Scooby gang of misfits who have had way too many mishaps. And yeah, for now that's where you can find me. Let's talk about do we talk about Bruno? Do we talk about Bruno? Do we talk about Bison? Bison.
Let's talk about Bison. Don't tell us who you play yet, but
yeah, I'm
who
Bison.
are you?
I'm I guess I would have to say Vernon now. Hasn't been Prince George in like 10 years. I mostly just do stuff here. On Tuesdays, I run the Cyberpunk Red campaign, Carnage Heights. Things are just starting to get a little crazy, and I'm really excited for this next week. And on Saturdays, I play Sid Brimlock on our trauma show, Dead to Rights, which is necrobiotic. It's steampunk, post-apocalyptic. It's crazy. We're about to go into probably Bad Ideas, the town. And Kevin's whistling innocently in the producer's chair. So this is going to be fun. So that's me.
And I guess lastly, there's me. I'm Chris, aka Wayward Knight. I am an artist on the internet. You can find all of my links and things there. If I can never figure out how the website works, I'm going to have an online shop eventually. I also play Delilah Stillwater on our Saturday game as well, alongside Bison. And you should check that out. It's something. But in like the best way, and without further ado, let's get back to business. So a lot happened last week. If I remember correctly, you got back from touring the house and you started researching. Oh, you met Estia's aunt. That was an experience. Things started off kind of on the wrong foot and they kind of ended on the wrong foot, but she advised you guys to lay low while she handled the aftermath and fallout of Ye and Ash's sort of grief rampages. And then you guys went back to Julian's office and started researching. And in your research, you discovered that there has been a string of disappearances of young college-aged people. And then digging a little deeper, you found that one of them dated all the way back to the 1950s and looked just like Danny. So when Danny came over at your request with his research, you guys interrogated him and you found out that Danny actually knows a lot more than he was letting on. He revealed to you that the true villains in this game are John and Delia Ellis, two vampires, again from the 50s, who are trying to create a formula to turn themselves into the ultimate vampires. And with that, you agreed to meet Danny the next night after dark. So after this meeting of sorts, you part ways. Danny goes off because clearly the vibes are not in his favor, and you guys make your way back to your respective apartments. And I imagine you guys are really tired. So you go get ready for bed, do your, respective rituals of preparing, and you climb into your comfy beds. Ash, you get a couple hours of sleep until you're suddenly very aware that you are asleep. Your body cannot move, but your mind is awake. And you are transported to that same strange white void that you have been in before. And yet
Back. It's back.
it's back.
They're back.
This white void with strange geometrical presences, almost like it feels like there are things within your space, but you do not see them. They are distant, and yet close. There are things around you, and yet you are in a void. It is a bizarre liminal space. In the distance, but in your head, you hear whispers and smoky wisps of black and gray coalesce into almost humanoid but more ambiguous forms. They pass by you kind of like ships in the night, with no sign of recognition that you're there. But every whisper gets louder when one gets nearer and fainter as it leaves. Then you're suddenly met by your friends and family. Ye is on one side. Cheryl is on the other. You can see your dad in the distance. Behind you is your dad's new girlfriend, with a very strange smile. And to the front is Estia, smiling happily. She begins to talk, actually. But the second that her voice would begin to be heard, everything goes silent. You hear nothing. The people around you, the rest of them, they all begin to talk in turn. But there's no sound. It is dead silent. And then the figure of Estia, without changing what she's doing, dissolves into that gray-black smoke. There's a moment where it seems like That's it? Then Cheryl is wafted away in a plume of charcoal dust. Then Ye, then your dad. And finally, the woman you know as Allison, as she introduced herself as your dad's new girlfriend, is standing in front of you. She looks pretty sincere, actually.
Has she been talking at all?
No, actually. She just kind of been waiting.
Is there any sort like she looks sincere, but people can have like saccharine smiles and and all that type of stuff. So like is there any sort of vibe I'm getting off of her? Or is it just because this is kind of creepy. This is scary for Ash. Like watching all their friends like disappear and not being able to hear anything. Like Ash is in a panic, but like, they can't move, they can't do anything.
You can make me a perception notice check.
Notice, not willpower, perception. Starting off strong, 9.
With a 9, you get that she doesn't have any bad intentions. She understands that you're not a big fan, but she wants to connect. And, in that sort of cheesy way, or that like cliche way of like, you can call me mom, or like, I want to be involved in your life. She would never say that, but it's that same intention. It's that same intention of, I don't want to be strangers, but but she's also like, we don't have to be best friends.
Right.
That's what you're getting with a 9.
Okay. Are there any more like, so Ash is like looking at Allison and things like that, and there's like a awkward silence almost where Ash like gets all this and then just like decides to still not say anything for a second and like look around. Like, are there still more like gray figures in the distance?
They're in the far distance.
Like far distance. Okay. And Ash will just kind of look at her and be like, she wants to say something, and then it's just like, am I stuck with you? That's what she kind of lands on.
It kind of, what she actually does is she looks at you with that, it looks like a kind smile to you. Not that it isn't, but like, again,
right.
that 9, with that 9, that's what you're seeing.
Right.
And she kind of just cocks her head and says, I don't know. Are you?
That was weird. And like Ash says that out loud and just like kind of like, can they move in the dream space? Or like yeah, they know they're dreaming, but like
so you can walk around in the dream space in this void. The weird thing is that when you speak, you don't hear your voice through your ears. You hear it in your head.
Okay.
But when you hear her, you hear that through your ears.
Okay. So yeah, so out loud, even though it's still in their head, they will say, that was weird, and kind of like look at her and go to like step around her to like walk around her. Like, okay.
She counters you.
She counters me. She doesn't let me go by her.
No, so like, you're like that, and she like kind of, so she'll let you go by her, but she'll go by you too.
Okay. Ash is just gonna start walking backwards. Like that freaks them out enough of like, I'm not turning my back on this person. Like I'm just gonna start walking backwards. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
this way. I'm gonna go this
She's
way.
not turning her back on you either.
Okay.
Her intent seems to be making eye contact in a respectful way, but she seems like she has a lot to say, but won't say it if she's not asked.
Okay. Ash in their head is just gonna go like they feel absolutely crazy, but it's a dream, so you know it might work. Yay. Cheryl, Dad, Hestia. You know, it's like a little like but like in their head.
Mhm. Their forms actually pop up behind you, but they are grainy.
Okay, like faint, like kind of seeing an image through that
Yeah.
staticky type of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ash will kind of like repeat that in their head again, like just like the mantra of names a little bit.
They stay behind you as if they're kind of like backing you up, but
Okay, do they stay grainy though?
they stay, yeah, like they're a little clearer, but they're like, for some reason the image of like a force ghost is popping into my head.
Okay.
That sort of like incorporeal, like we can't interfere, but we are here with you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So Ash, when Ash started walking backwards, did Allison follow, or did Allison like also walk backwards?
So as you I think she took a few steps forward, but she did not like press her presence into your space or anything like that.
Okay, so she followed me when I stepped backwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's maintaining a close proximity, but not so close that she is impinging upon your own personal space.
Okay. Okay. Ash will kind of like let this go on for like a little while just to like honestly test Allison's patience. Like they're in a dream, time is nebulous. It feels like I'm here for hours. It's really 3 minutes. So like you know. They're just gonna like test this with Allison for a little while. Like they will like kind of like step backwards, like do like go back around her, like all that stuff, just like
Allison shows endless patience and
okay.
keeps that same sort of placid smile.
Okay, yeah. See, Ash does not have endless patience. Ash's patience only like lasts for so long, and they can only be petty and like problematic for so long before they just like what? What do you want? Like
I want you to like me.
this is not. Why am I talking to myself? That's like literally like Ash like in their own head talking to Allison in their own head like
I'm not in your head.
really.
No. Well, I guess I am technically, but I'm also real. And I want you to know that I don't mean your dad any harm.
Because that's very reassuring that if you're actually in my head and you're real, that means you're part of this absolutely crazy world that I just got shoved to, and you will not bring that to him.
That is not my intention.
And you gotta go.
I'm sorry, but I can't.
And why not?
She looks down and she looks kind of sad. And she looks back up at you and she says, I can't tell you.
Then why are you here?
Because you're hurting. And I want you to know that I am not a threat.
You seem a little threatening right now. Just know that there. You might want to work on the vibes a little bit because they're not it.
She cocks her head again to the other side. Give me another perception notice.
Okay. Also, please hold. Mila, come here. No? Okay. She's screaming to the heavens. Cats, yo. Perception. 7. We're doing great. We're doing absolutely great.
He genuinely means you no harm.
Okay.
She
Yeah.
is completely sincere in what she is saying.
Okay. I mean, just because she's sincere doesn't mean Ash has to like it, right? Ash is like, God, you're infuriating. You know?
Perhaps. I may be. I understand your dad is very special to you. And if you ever think that he's not safe, don't worry. And then she fizzles out.
What do you
into
mean if I ever
that.
think and like there's like a, why wouldn't he be safe? Like type of like thought, but then she's gone before Ash can actually like, fully ask the question.
And you're left in this white void, and things are starting to dissolve into a kind of wind that wisps around you, and it almost looks like when Frodo or Bilbo put on the One Ring, where like the world is wispy and incorporeal.
Do I land at King's Cross Station?
Yeah, you get transported into a Harry Potter dream.
It would be pretty apt, just like because that's how dreams work. How it's like some things know and things you don't.
You have an insane Harry Potter dream where like it's Harry and the gang, but they're also like Captain America and like Mario is there. And you have to defeat Voldemort, but your wands are baguettes.
And there's this really weird rave bro and some DJ.
Some like DJ witch.
Yeah.
That like is a little bit annoying, but like seems to have a little bit of actual power.
The guy with some cheese.
The guy with some cheese.
And yes,
Ash
actually,
wakes up because there's a slap of cheese on their face.
You get a drama point, both of you.
Oh, I love it.
Don't worry, Kyle. You won't have to birds us.
Don't worry. Drama points.
Yeah, so
I really have to spend some of these.
You wake up when when a slice of cheese slaps you, and you wake up with a start, and there isn't cheese on your face, but like wow, that
cheddar.
felt real. Oh no, he clearly had American cheese.
Oh yeah.
It's a terrible
plastic.
processed orange. Yeah. Yeah, it's plastic. That vaguely smells like cheese, but it's mostly plastic.
Yeah, it's like fake cheese smell. Like Cheese Whiz.
So
Or with
American cheese.
cheese sandwiches. Yeah, yeah.
That's American cheese, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheese
yeah.
with a question mark.
I can't believe
Ash,
it's not
do you
cheese.
do you do anything after you wake up with a start?
Um, they probably honestly text the group chat and be like, guys, I just had the weirdest fucking dream. And it starts with like the Harry Potter, like Marvel baguette cheese man thing. Like it just like I had the weirdest dream and like tells them about that. And then it's like, oh yeah. And like dad's new girlfriend was there too. It was weird.
You actually get a response from Yay. It's very like short sentences, almost like in bursts. It's just, a couple short sentences. Had a vision, gonna be out. Sorry guys.
Yeah. Ash would be like,
And
no
then like a
worries.
minute later it says it was bad.
Oof. There's like a no worries with a heart and a feel better. Let me know if you need anything. We're type of like, because obviously Ash, I mean, they all know how bad it can get. So
Yeah. He reacts with like a thumbs up, but like that's clearly all he could muster. So as the rest of the night passes, Ash, do you try to go back to sleep? Do you stay up?
they probably like toss on their TV to like just like random like, either like what they put their YouTube on? Kinetic sand videos. Yep. Yep. I don't know why, but that just absolutely fits Ash as a person. And just,
I love that. I love that.
If Ash can't sleep,
Uh,
they watch kinetic sand videos. So that's kind of what's on there. And they're probably like dozing in and out for the rest of the night.
Okay. So the morning rolls around. It is a school day again. It's up to you whether you guys go to your classes. But that is an option. I also believe Cheryl did schedule tea time with Zachary.
I did, but there is a lot more of a pressing current motive or situation that's happening right now. This has been mentioned previously in I believe session 0, maybe even session 1, but our world prior to this campaign, media still exists. Is that correct, Director?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, so Cheryl just goes home after the reveal session and throws on a random episode of the Vampire Diaries in season 6 and is staring at the screen as Damon Salvatore describes a professor that's experimenting on vampires. And she goes, "Oh my days." And she's going to spend the evening trying to come up with a spreadsheet of the motives and the arcs in the TV show and be like, all right, this is a great place to start. If there is a scientific experiment on vampires, then that means that. And she's just going to start like taking different plot devices. So she's going to probably
Are you
research.
telling me my plot isn't original?
No. Cheryl is thinking that there's inspiration from fiction that might lead to some discovery. It's a very different
got
plot
you.
because
And it
the
totally has nothing
Augustine
to do with her
Society.
staring at Ian Somerhalder. It's
No,
nothing to do
absolutely
with that.
not. She throws popcorn
Totally
at the
not.
screen every time Nina Dobrev comes on, and she's just gonna analyze. She's gonna go, all right, the Augustine Foundation had benefactors, they had a facility, and they had these impressive members. So she's gonna try and understand. Obviously, we have a name, so we might have a likeness. She's gonna print off, seeing as that helped us with a one Clarence Olson. Try and see if there's any digital copies of their likeness or any portraits that have been digitized into the World Wide Web.
Okay. Can you make me a an intelligence computers check?
Alrighty. I now have access to my Roll20 character sheet, and I'm trying to get
Hooray!
OBS open on my desktop, but it is slowly coming on.
If you
Alright.
I can pull up your sheet if you need me to. Oh, is that
I
it?
believe I have that is I believe that is a 9 total for my computer's intelligence check. So only one success.
Okay. You do find proof that the Ellises existed. You're able to find an old, like, because colleges don't have yearbooks and they didn't have like websites back then. So you're able to find like an old faculty list under like a course catalog.
Mhm.
But there's no images associated with it.
Darn. All right. Well, with that bit of information, I suppose she's gonna try and look for any census records or descendants then, just to try and get a good beat. Maybe not necessarily at a records office, but if there is any people in the area with the last name Ellis, then see if she can
Okay.
dig up a likeness.
Make me another roll then.
Alrighty. That'll be the same roll.
Yes.
All right, let's double check. That is going to be a 15.
Okay. So you're much more successful looking for that, in that you do find where the information you're looking for would be, but they did not have kids. They didn't really have family in the city.
Hmm.
They were very much sort of that, aspiring academics couple who didn't want kids and were kind of seen as weirdos back in their time because they didn't want a family or kids. So they kind of like just mostly did stuff by themselves and at their offices and taught their classes. The closest Ellis, like, Ellis is not like an uncommon name. So there are lots of Ellises in the city, but nothing that looks like it directly relates to John and Delia.
All right, so we don't necessarily have any perfect likeness. And although they were professors, do we have the university that they were teaching at?
Let me Google something. Yeah, okay. They were working at Case Western Reserve University, which that's where my best friend went. They were in the science department. One was a chemist and one was a biologist.
John and Delia, respectively, or is it reversed?
Delia was the chemist, and John was the biologist.
Alrighty, biologist. Alrighty, so they disappeared from. I'm essentially, I guess, making just a biography for the last section of their career, and I'm going to try and understand if they had any similar to the plot thread of the Vampire Diaries. There is someone holding the purse strings for this society, so she's going to try and see if there's any collaborators in their research group or any of the papers that they publish, if they have any highly ranked publications or any patents related to that name.
Okay. Make me one more of the intelligence computer rolls.
Wonderful. That is a 14, and I'm on Google Scholar, just tapping away their names.
You find one paper by John that kind of it was co-authored by John. It kind of discusses the early sort of suggestion of like genetic, what would you call it? Like, because this was around the time that like the structure of DNA was I think it was around the time that the structure of DNA was discovered. And if I'm wrong, drag me in the comments. But this paper kind of goes out on a limb suggesting that DNA could be altered theoretically. It's very hypothetical. They propose some sort of like structural swapping, but they don't have the tools nailed down as to like what process would be used to do that. But then they hypothesize the possibilities of like augmented genes and how that could potentially affect the biological structures of whatever.
Interesting. And there's other co-authors on this paper? Are any of them alive?
Nope.
All right. Well, she's going to write down the co-authors and probably set up some sort of scrubbing algorithm to look for any papers in the last few years at any of the universities, see if there's any ties or a low number of degrees of separation between modern authors and any of the co-authors on that paper.
BT Dubs, I was right. It was 1953.
It was 1953 by one Francis Crick.
Crick and Watson.
I'm looking right at the same Wikipedia page as you. You learned something today, audience. Take that to the bank. And I suppose Cheryl's half completed PowerPoint is gonna go unfinished because she has like all these like nice flowery slideshows that are like, who are they? And there's like a picture missing. She's just feeling a little disappointed in herself, but had some good leads.
Yeah. I want to say you also find you're on a computer, so that actually wouldn't be digitized. So that's what you find. Yeah.
Everything can always be digitized. It's up to you, director. Some people are just crazy.
No, you would have to look through some books.
All right. So I get an idea of where my next lead would be. Likely at Case Western Reserve is where.
And you actually know that you could theoretically walk there from OSU here. It would be kind of a long-ish walk, medium long walk, because the city's big enough that it's not like across the block. But you could easily get there on foot if you needed to.
I'll likely send a message to one of my other contacts, one of my colleagues that I met at one of my summer internships that goes to Case Western Reserve, and set up a nice little gym workout routine between the two of us for quite early in the morning. See if they can show me around. I'm thinking about transferring.
Interesting. Okay. So does all of this research mean that you're like skipping classes and stuff?
Likely she was up late this night and is going to, I don't know. It depends on how much fuel, how much is Cheryl a girl boss mechanically? How little sleep while looking excellent can she do? Can she be up bright and early, bushy-tailed at 6 a.m. on like 3 hours of sleep and still be okay? Because I'm pushing that she's like woman on a mission, just getting it done
You know, in my
without much
sorority
like.
days, I used to do that, so it's not doable.
Make me a constitution plus willpower roll.
Oh, I have so much willpower. Oh my days. All right, Constitution plus willpower. Let's see if there's any other skills I can try and convince the director to let me use.
Well, Cheryl is arguably naturally attractive, so like she doesn't have to put that much effort into looking good.
I will concede you can add your attractiveness.
Oh, lovely. Of course. All right, so that'll become. Of course we will. That'll be a 15 total.
You are girl boss enough that you can slay pretty easily. So
Good.
you know, you have that like high-end concealer and that, you know, expensive perfume, just a couple spritzes and, you know, a nice pressed outfit, and you can cover up any lost sleep you got.
Yeah, it's like when Cheryl gets ready in the morning, she wants to do this. She makes herself look like she doesn't have any makeup on, but definitely has some, but she's so good at concealing it that she just makes other women upset because it looks like she put no effort into getting ready in this morning, but at least it's 45 minutes.
Oh, she's the girl all the girls hate.
Hashtag no filter.
Oh, absolutely, of course. But she's not going to post because she's lying low. She's meeting a friend for a low key hangout. You know, go over her squat techniques
Okay.
before getting shown around.
Before you do that, Ash, what do you do for the day? You do have classes going on. I won't make you go to them, but
if Ash, I mean, it's been a few days since Ash has been to class, so Ash really doesn't want to fail out of school because, you know, their grades aren't the highest, so attendance is important sometimes for Ash. So Ash will go to class, but it's like that type of day where you go to classes and like you make sure you sit in the back and you're not really paying attention, and they're there absolutely, but they're not really there. And like they will be like texting, like, so they decided to text Cheryl and Julian just on the side, well, also just Cheryl because duh. So they're not bothering Yay, and just like kind of like check in with Cheryl, like see like what the plans are for the day, and then also just kind of like have like a moment of like, you know, quote unquote mommy dearest was so weird in my dream last night, you know, just like they can't get over how weird Allison was, and so like kind of like, hey, what are you doing for the day, and like reiterate that like Allison was so weird in my dream last night, blah blah blah, like a like small talky, but not like, I don't know, I'm bad at small talk, Ash isn't, so
Probably going to respond with what's her name?
Allison, and I'm assuming Ash probably knows her last name, but I don't off the top of my head.
yeah, no, yeah, I'll
True, the Allison name, yeah.
Allison name. Allison,
Allison
your name.
Name.
No.
Yeah, exactly. Name.
Allison Name. All right. So like any good friend would do is she immediately looks up Allison on social media and just sends all the cringiest stuff back to Ash, and goes, "Really? I'm certain that your dad can do better. I have some friends that are around Allison's age. If you want me to try and break them up."
She'll probably just respond and be like, Maybe. Not yet. She told me she wants me to like her in my dream. Do you think that's my subconscious telling me to stop being a bitch?
I think that might be that she has she's practicing something. Is that something that Cheryl's aware of? That there's dream walkers, like that hit movie with the man with knives on his fingers?
Make me a intelligence occultism roll.
Can I have my sorcery levels to that?
No, because you're not casting a spell.
Damn it! How dare you? Knowledge and occultism. That I believe.
Nope. Intelligence and occultism.
Yeah, sorry, intelligence and occultism. Thank you. That's essentially. That is a 15.
You've heard like more than rumors, but you've never like actually heard like a firsthand account of there we go. You've never heard a firsthand account of any like dreamwalker types. You've definitely heard of like, you know, people appearing to other people in dreams and it seeming very real and very spooky, but not like malicious.
Well, that's I make sure to relay that to Ash and to say that I'll keep an eye on anything that Allison posts or any sort of indication that she might be a practitioner herself.
I should just say thanks. Like just like a basic like thanks. And then anyways, what are you doing today?
Oh, and then subconsciously or without thinking, Cheryl is going to list all of the things that she's done at the gym since 6 a.m. and has probably been at a library looking up like records, and does the thing that everyone's friend like hates. They're like, oh, I've been up for an hour and my friend's been up for 5. What have they gotten done? So
Yeah.
probably like, oh, you'll never believe what I found in the records here at Case Western Reserve. It's really cracked this case open wide. And I'm going to never mind. We'll see how I roll.
Yeah. Give me an intelligent. God, research rolls are really hard to figure out what I want you to roll for these. It would be like a perception notice because you're trying to find this information. Or you could
Perception.
do. Are you?
Is there
using a
anyone at the
computer?
library that I could
Intelligence
finagle?
notice?
Hmm?
Intelligence notice?
You could use intelligence notice as well. You can do either perception or intelligence notice.
All right. Well, I'll probably do. Oh no, I'm equally as good to both. So we'll see how doing it without attracting any wandering eyes goes. That is a crit. That is a 14.
Okay. With a 14, you're able to find in the you know how a lot of like university libraries have designated sections for like the history of the state and the history of the school and the history of the city, stuff like that. You find the section on the history of the school, and you do find so what I'm picturing is, you know how high schools that have been around for a long time have the photos on the walls with like the oval photos of like the 30 kids who started out at this high school, and then like the principal and the teachers. It's
Faculty,
like
yeah.
in the faculty, yeah. It's like that, but it's just the faculty. And you find like like this is all the science faculty and this is all the history faculty and like basically just like kind of commemorative, not commemorative, but just like
Historical.
historical, that's the word. historical photos of the faculty of like each year, and you do find you also find like a professor of the year award, one for John and one for Delia.
Does that have a nice bigger photo that I can?
No, those ones are just like plaques.
Interesting. But the faculty photo, do I have the likeness?
Yes. You do have the likeness of John and Delia. They are like 3/4 view, so it's not like a mugshot or anything, but
Yeah, but that's still
That's-
huge,
yeah, it's still-
especially with my macro lens iPhone 13. That's gonna be great at taking a close-up picture. So she's gonna snap some pics, and she's going to send it to everybody. But well, not everybody, but those in the
The
know, all
gang.
the Scoobies.
Yep.
And she's going to just look at the last couple of years that they were around, that they were professors, see who the TAs were, if those are listed at all. And she's gonna do another quick check, go to aretheydead.com, and she's gonna just double check.
Is
see
that a
if,
real website?
It's up to you. If you want your universe to be that cool, there can be an automated obituary website. And if you make that into a website right now, I better get 10% kickbacks, because who's to say?
Yeah, there's an areyoudead.com or aretheydead.com.
Wonderful.
Areyoudead.com.
For some reason in this
Are you
universe, it's
dead?
actually on top of every single academic from Cleveland.
I think it's just an archive of obituaries.
Mhm.
So like the name of the site is a little crass, but it's not like run by the government or anything where they have to be, tasteful or tactful or whatever the word is. So you can search by like state and then city or county and last name, and like put all these filter options in and stuff, and you don't find, or I think when you were searching for like the co-authors of that one paper, you found them on this website, so like they're all passed away. You don't find a lot of the like, there's maybe like one or two names of the TAs who have passed, but the rest of them don't appear on the website, so you can probably assume that they are still living, though they would be elderly at this point.
Probably in the 90s. I would assume. What year did these folks disappear?
The Ellises disappeared in 1955 or 6. It's so make me one last roll, same stats.
Right. Ooh, slightly less than a crit. So that's going to be a 13 total.
Okay, I think that's the same amount of successes. Yeah. So mentions of the Ellises in the faculty like role drop off in like 1950. John drops off in 55. Delia drops off in 56. So that is puzzling, actually. You do find a register of like in the records books, you do find a register of them officially taking sabbatical in 56.
Interesting. All right. Well, she's gonna probably ponder over this stack of books, relay the messages to I believe everyone. She's just gonna have it be a silent notification to Ye. Make sure that there's as many copies of this information as possible. And I suppose she's going to see if there's any grants or any funding. Usually for researchers, there's records of funding being matched. Any donations to a specific project usually gets matched by the state, especially in the 50s, and there was such a hard push on hard science.
Okay. Make me another roll.
Alrighty. I rolled a natural 9. So
Uh,
if it's the same stats, it'll be 14. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
13.
Same stats, 14. 13. With a 13, you find in like the stacks where they keep like archived financial records, like nobody touches this shit. It's like way in the back of the stacks. There is a list of donors to the science program and what they matched, what got matched by it. You know, there's some hefty chunks because, you know, there are people who, you know, regularly donate to the department every year. And it just seems like, so what's the best way to put this? The funding dries up a little bit after John and Delia go missing, as if maybe like their colleagues continued it for a while, but sort of dropped it after they realized that John and Delia weren't coming back. The numbers don't quite make sense, though, in a way that my math empty brain doesn't know how to explain.
Wait a second. Is this the second sexiest thing that could happen to me today? Am I about to audit some books?
If that's what you want to do.
I would love to audit some 70-year-old donation receipts to try and uncover any fraud. And I would like
Okay.
to use my wildcard stat finance.
Yes. Make me a.
Oh,
That's gonna be
can I just pitch?
intelligence.
Yeah, pitch intelligence. Computers, because I'm using Excel. I downloaded Microsoft 365, and also finance. That's all right.
I'm gonna say intelligence and then use whichever of those skills is higher, and then I'll give you a +1 bonus.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much, Director. I almost critically failed, so I'm going to use. I'm going to use something that's going to hopefully help my roll. I'd like to use Trump point.
Okay. There is. Let me remember. Okay, so the one that lets you add a 10, I believe, is the act of heroism.
Act of heroism. All right.
So how are you being a hero?
Cheryl is alone in a room with Marcus, just like one of her favorite movies with, I believe, Ben Affleck, the accountant, and she's writing numbers, and she is crunching for the rest of her afternoon. She's sacrificing her own academics and her own possibility of doing well on the midterm that's coming up, and she is heroically sacrificing her time and her energy. And if there is nothing more heroic than a woman in STEM, then I don't know what to say to you, Director. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay, that'll be an 18 total.
Okay. Yeah. Again, Chris is shit at math. So basically, without going into the actual numbers, what you find is that someone has miscalculated, and a like significant chunk of money, like there's a decimal point that should be further out than it is.
Okay.
So like you could easily miss it, but it might not be an accident.
So there's a peculiar amount of money going towards funding either the biology or chemistry department.
Yes.
Is what I uncover, is that there's a very peculiar hands-on, maybe fudging of some numbers.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm gonna figure out which company that is. If they have if I'm looking through financial records, I should have the CFO and CEO's names. And that's probably gonna be me passing the torch to another player to continue this narrative, because it's getting a bit over the top. She's just gonna write down.
Get a little inside baseball.
Yeah.
Um,
She's gonna be like, all right.
Ash, you finish your classes. Let me roll something here. Yeah. Cheryl, you spend all day in the stacks, like 9 hours, minimal snack breaks. Like you're crunching numbers all day. Ash, you've been to, I think you have like 2 days where you have 2 classes and 2 days where you have 3 classes, and this has been a 3-class day. So you've just been sort of taking it easy, but making sure you pay attention enough that you're not going to flunk your first test or whatever. And the hours pass and it starts to get dark again, and you know that in like an hour or so you'll be meeting Danny at Julian's office.
You're
Are
muted,
you
dear.
muted?
Right. I muted it because I kept coughing and I couldn't. I forgot. Does Cheryl have her location shared on with the Scooby Gang or no?
Absolutely. I have
Okay.
my location shared with you, that if you can unlock it using your, I believe, Face ID. I'll add another
Yeah.
level to that, director, in case any of us get abducted.
Yeah.
But of course, we have
course.
some secure way of knowing where each other are at all times for any future mishaps that may occur.
So Ash will
You
just
learned that lesson.
yeah, oh yeah. Ash will absolutely Cheryl probably gets a little ding because like I'm sure that there's like a little security thing that says like, hey ding, somebody's checking your location, so there's like a little boop that says that like Ash has checked her location, and so Ash makes their way to the library where Cheryl is, but also actually never mind. But yeah, so Ash will make their way to the library where Cheryl is before they I am having trouble remembering if Julian is supposed to come with them. I think he is. Julian
is going to be at the office because that's where Danny is meeting you guys.
Right. Yes, so Ash will go get Cheryl and like probably find Cheryl like walks in like stacks of books and just just knock on a door of like a study room and be like, is it safe to enter?
They just keep using threes. My God, it's like they've whenever you try to, and she like immediately turns to you, she's like, whenever you try to make up a number, you might subconsciously just keep using the same numerical digit, and it appears here, here, and here. I'm pretty certain. Sorry, I haven't talked to anybody about this today. What time is it?
Ash
About-
just, yeah, it's late.
Yeah, it's like 7:30, almost 8.
Yeah. There is a coffee actually in Ash's hands, like one for Ash and one for Cheryl because they have to stay up late tonight to meet Danny. So like, there is one, and Ash will just very slowly go, breathe. The numbers aren't going to hurt you. And just like slowly pass the coffee to Cheryl.
All right, that's fair. I have the ugly mugs, and I have the corporation number. I'm currently trying to see if this horrible company still exists that was funding whatever research they were doing. But we can get to that
It-
later.
Yeah, we can get to that later.
All right, help me wipe all this down with some IPA. And she's gonna clear all the dry erase markers off the walls. Um,
God, dry erase or wet erase?
Honestly, I don't know. I'm not that artistically minded. I know movie references. I know the accountant. That's all I got for you right now.
That's fair. That's fair. It's a matter of if you have the right eraser, basically. That's the artist in me. Anyway, it was actually that's the office supply nerd in me. Little known fact, I really like office supplies.
Actually knew that because we've talked about office supplies at
We
length
have
before. At length.
Cheryl and Ash, clean up the madness, the beautiful mind-esque room.
I imagine it's like so that gif of the woman thinking with all of the like math floating around her. It's like all of those metaphorical math things just got splattered physically onto every surface in this room.
If Jackson
but it's-
Pollock did math.
Yeah.
But it's auditing, and that is one of the lower forms of mathematics. So it is just addition and subtraction. And you
Yeah.
can come fight me, accountants in the chat.
It looks like the number pi vomited onto the walls.
Sure. All right, let's go
With
see
some
what this.
pluses and minuses and
Let's go see what this demon boy has to say.
all right, so you make your way in through you're in the library, so you're literally like across the hall from Julian's office.
We're
his
at the other
classroom.
university, I believe, but if
Oh,
if I
that's
brought
right, you are at the other university.
if I brought the books with me to our campus, that would be fair as well.
No. That's
All right,
the kind of stuff that they don't let you check out.
we drive back.
Okay. So you guys do that. And you guys meet up with Julian, and it's a little bit before when you agreed with Danny to meet up, and Julian says, well, are you guys ready? Because honestly, I don't know if I am.
Well, I don't think it matters if we're ready or not.
True. And there is a knock on the door.
Telekinesis, open it.
Danny, is standing in the doorway, and he says, I'm respecting your space by knocking, but asserting my authority anyway, or as a vampire anyway, and coming on in. That was a bad opener.
Cheryl just thinks to herself, this is the weakest fucking man that we've been blackmailed by. God damn. Oh. All right, well, assert your authority further and lay out the plan for us.
He has a backpack actually, and so he closes the door behind him and takes off his backpack, lays it on the couch, takes out a big fucking book, and plops it onto the table in the middle of the room. There is a ribbon, like one of those ribbon book tab mark things, in the book, and he opens it to that page and turns the book to face Julian and you guys. And what you see are 4 illustrations of 3 daggers and 1 knife. Each individual dagger has a different colored gem on the pommel, or yeah. And then the knife looks like a bigger version of the daggers, but it has all 3 gems along the handle. This is what we need.
All right. We got she like pauses for a moment as she thinks about the goddamn reference that she... All right, well, we got Charmander and Squirtle, so where's Bulbasaur?
Actually, what you have is Squirtle and Bulbasaur. We need
Annie, if
Charmander.
you don't shut your fucking mouth right now and just tell us what the goddamn dagger is, I swear, she's just like reaching into her clutch to grab a gun.
That's the problem. We don't know where Charmander is.
There's
You're-
that like cricket blank stare from Ash, right? And they're just like that, like blink, blink, blink. And Ash goes, then why the fuck are you here? How are we supposed to find it?
Because I did know where Charmander was, but Charmander
Oh.
got stolen.
All right.
Steal it back.
Well, we gotta find the fucker first.
We don't know who.
Well, it was stolen in the middle of the night from a teeny little local museum. And they were wearing, honestly, so cliche. They were wearing like black and balaclavas, and basically we don't have their faces.
Do we have any camera footage?
That's what I'm saying. There's no good camera footage. It's all covered faces and shadowy figures.
You can
And
identify
then-
somebody by more than just a face. Is there camera footage?
Yeah, I think, or sorry, rewind. Yes, it's with the police, but yes. It's also with the news. They released it on the news just in case anyone could identify the body types or something.
Well, that's not a bad start. All right.
Julian goes over to the book and he actually starts reading what's written next to the images. And he says, "Are you planning to use this knife for what it's supposed to do?" And Danny says, "That's kind of the idea." And Julian says, I hate that this is a great idea.
What's the...
Well, yeah. From either
Go on,
side,
Julian.
Cheryl and Ash go like, what does it do?
So, when you read what's written here, what you learn is that a long time ago, there was like a town or a city that was constantly under attack from demons. They called upon the Slayer, but the Slayer never arrived. So the local warlocks brought together every magic they knew to imbue a local girl with the powers of the Slayer, or what they could create as an imitation of that. And when the battle was done, the girl could no longer contain the power in her unaccustomed form. So the warlocks took the powers back and divided them and stored them in 3 knives because they knew the powers could be used for ill, so the knives were hidden separately. Red for strength, green, dexterity, blue, supernatural senses. But if the knives were ever to, but if anyone were ever to need a Slayer again, they could bring the knives back together, and they would fuse and grant the wielder the powers of the Slayer.
And you
Not
need
to,
all 3.
Good.
Sorry. You do
No, go
need
ahead.
all 3 to be able to use this knife. We can't just use it with dexterity and supernatural ability.
You could, but these people, this couple, I have spent my entire vampiric existence trying to take them down. They can create an army if they want. They probably have something already in the works to defend themselves. Even if they're not the ultimate vampires yet, they're much, much, much stronger than anything you have faced.
Oh,
No.
that's likely.
Not to point out the obvious, but why do we need a Slayer? And Ash will just kind of like lift their hand and like,
We don't need
Hi.
a Slayer. We need multiple.
well, funny. Okay. And just
Danny raises an eyebrow, like he knows what you're thinking because you guys told him that another Slayer is in town, and he's just kind of like, it's not going to open that can of worms right now.
yeah, that's why Ash kind of swallowed that too a little bit. Just
It's
Okay.
not that yes, we have a Slayer, but no offense, but one Slayer, I don't think is going to make a difference.
All right, so
Didn't-
we need a few.
If we want any chance of taking these people down, yes.
Didn't there only used to be one Slayer though? Like, and Ash is like out loud, just okay.
And one Slayer has been killed by one vampire in the past.
Yeah, I know.
Julian like gives you a look like this was in your Slayer 101 class. But he doesn't,
Yeah.
he doesn't like say that.
That's why there's that I know, and like under her breath, just like I know. But again, Ash is not the best student. Ash is there for a good time.
So Danny looks at you guys, kind of folds his arms, and just says, so now we got to get Charmander.
I will agree to get the damn stone if we stop the Pokemon references. Please. Your coolness level went like real fast.
Hey, Witch over here started it.
She's allowed to, 'cause she looks like that.
Absolutely. There's a situation where if you're a certain level of attractive, you can also be a certain level of nerdy and no one will judge you. You, sir, are like a 1950s 7, so like a 2023 4.
Wow.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are
Okay.
we supposed to be nice to each other because we're working together?
Oh, fuck. What does that say about Estia's tastes, you bastard?
She looked for whatever. I'm being mean to the murderous vampire that kills people. Fuck y'all. All right.
I'm
All
not
right,
even
so
here.
we're gonna try and find we're gonna try and find
We're
whoever.
gonna try and find the strength knife. Yes.
Yes, all right. And you have no leads, I suppose.
It wasn't. Let's see. Admittedly, no. But that's where you guys come in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, it's taken him 30 years to get here. Of course he needs us. Like that's like to Cheryl. So museum?
I suppose we could go to the scene of the crime, see if there's anything that the Cleveland police missed in their report. I know that that's
Yeah.
unlikely with the Cleveland police, but might as well try.
Oh, it wasn't in Cleveland.
Mhm.
Oh,
No, it's out in Shaker Heights.
what a absurd name for a place for people to live. Shaker Heights. What does Cheryl know about Shaker Heights?
What does Ash know about Shaker Heights? Ash is local.
Actually, right on Shaker Heights. I think I did. Yeah. What you know is it's a suburb of Cleveland. It's next to another it's like a historical district. It's next to another historical district. The houses are all like from the 1920s. They have pretty good schools, pretty decent diversity. Um there's it's kind of a like an upscale, more expensive neighborhood, which kind of explains why it would have its own like private history museum. It's like your standard kind of upper middle class suburb. Like way upper middle class.
All right, and I guess we don't necessarily have an MO for this figure. So either we try and find them, or we let them try and find us if they're looking for all three daggers.
I think if
Well,
we have two of them, I mean, well, are there
the news is
whisperings?
calling it a smash and grab, but we know better.
That's the only
Okay.
thing that was stolen.
No, there were a couple other things, but the only thing from the case it was in was the knife.
Now, if you know better that it wasn't a smash and grab, what are the whisperings about where the other stones are?
What I meant by that was that we know it probably wasn't just a smash and grab.
Okay, well, what does everybody else know about where the other stones are?
The other stones are with us.
I know that, Danny. I'm saying what people
Oh.
who want the stones, where do they think
That's
they are?
That's it. No, that was Chris being a dummy.
That
That
was
wasn't on.
Ash
Don't put that on Danny.
I
Oh,
caught where I caught both sides. I know what each one was thinking. Ash
Yeah.
was thinking we as in vampires.
Vampires,
Director
yeah.
was thinking we as in Scoobies.
yes.
Vampires don't really know about this. Vampires don't really read books. I happen to be an exception.
Hmm.
Julian says, yes, a remarkable exception with a deus ex machina. I hate that you know so much. And Danny goes, yeah, I hate it too. I hate it too. And then you kind of see him tense up, kind of like he's in pain a little bit, but he like shrugs it off and like just grits his teeth and works through it. And then he refocuses himself and he says, look, there's not a lot we can do tonight because it's too late to go case the joint.
Says who?
Says the person who knows that you guys need to be laying low.
Well, I don't necessarily know about that. We could probably go this evening. If it's still an active crime scene, they haven't cleaned everything up. But waiting another night, they might, you know, contaminate everything or shift everything around. Besides that, we could possibly go to the police department and try and see what they've uncovered and look at their case files. But all right, let's assume that it's let's assume that it's a smash and grab, or that they're looking to sell other things that they grabbed while they were there. Let's give me a list of the items that were missing. She's gonna take out her
He lists off like
computer.
the like some gems, like historic jewelry, some like little, it was mostly like historic jewelry, but like not iconic jewelry, like
Okay.
like things that you could fence more easily, like a Celtic brooch, or a Hollywood string of pearls that you could take apart and sell individually, stuff like that.
All right, well let's try and see if we
And
can.
there were some, so like in another case, there would have been, he does say like there were cases of knives on like in like a knife display, and then there was the case, like the big case that the dagger was in, and it was in amongst like a couple more ornate daggers, but weirdly they smashed the small case of knives and took a lot of those, the more like nondescript ones, and then they smashed the big case but only took the one knife, the one dagger. That's what Danny saw when he saw the footage like on the news.
Cheryl's gonna try and being familiar with occultish items and being good with computers, she's gonna try and see if there's any vendors or fences that she can uncover on the dark web.
Okay, make me an intelligence occultism roll. And in
Alrighty.
the meantime, Danny is going to say, I get it. I haven't been super helpful tonight, but I gave you the information on these knives so you know why they're important. And it's one of the banes of my existence that the one knife we need now is missing again. So, fetch quest, yay. I'm going to do some research on my own, actually. I'll see you again tomorrow night. Okay?
I suppose, would you let us know what you're gonna try and poke around in?
Just vampire things. And he like doesn't physically wink, but like you can hear the wink in his voice, like you don't want to know.
Just vampire things. There's probably like a soft like echo from Ash, like, and then like a silent like.
You guys should sleep. And he leaves the book, takes his bag, and then he turns around and goes, "Don't lose that. Thanks."
Yeah.
And he walks out.
Do you mind if I, while he's leaving, do you mind if I slip something into his backpack?
Make a
Pocket.
dexterity crime.
Can I use telekinesis to use my willpower instead of my dexterity?
You can, but you're going to be at a negative modifier because you're doing a like very specific delicate task.
All right. How much of a negative modifier?
It's a -1.
All right, sounds good. So I will use willpower and crime. I was forced to take crime because of all my dastardly ways. That is. Can I add my sorcery levels as well?
It's not a spell.
All right. Well, I have levels. Do I have levels of telekinesis?
Telekinesis doesn't come in levels.
It does not. That's very
No.
true. All right, that's only a total of 9.
What were you trying to do?
I was trying to slip an air tag into his backpack.
Like, don't vampires have enhanced senses and stuff?
Give me a second. Where's the damn...
This man says that he's in chronic pain. Who's to say that he is perceptive?
He, as he's leaving, he feels a little tug as you forget to let go with your telekinesis on his backpack. He turns around, fishes in that pocket, and pulls out the air tag, and he goes, I get it, but we're not going to play these games, okay? He hands it back to you.
Sure, it'll float out of his hand. I ain't touching him. And she's just gonna do that thing that I can't do because I'm a male. But she smiles at him, but he knows that she doesn't like him. For some reason, it's a phenomenal thing that some people are able to do that I cannot. But smiles at him, and he feels worse for some reason.
Oh, he knows. You know he
Yeah.
knows.
Oh, everyone knows when they see it. That's the power.
It's a really great skill to have, just saying.
I fucking bet.
So yeah, he heads out, and Julian looks very, very puzzled and very conflicted, but he doesn't say anything out loud. You can tell he's thinking. Eventually, though, he does speak up and he says, I hate it, but he has a point. You guys should go home.
We have an idea of well, we have an idea that someone took this dagger and that they're trying to do something. So either they stole it for someone or they took it for themselves. We have a lead.
I don't trust him, but I don't trust the city for your safety right now. Please, please, please go home.
What day of the week is it?
Monday.
Okay. Ash will kind of like nod, look to Cheryl, but nod of like, that's up, that like look that like friends give each other, like, well, he didn't say who's home, like Cheryl can like either come over to Ash's or whatever, like they can research. Just because they're home doesn't mean they can't research, like he didn't say who's home.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
When
like that type of
when we
look.
leave, it'll just be like, I don't know. We'll say what Cheryl will just mention and go. So, yeah, your place or mine?
Ash probably says it at the same time, honestly, like just that comedic timing of, so your place or mine.
Julian, like you can hear Julian sigh a tiny bit, but like he knows he can't stop you guys. So
They're almost
So you
listening.
guys-
It's improvement.
They're going home.
Mhm.
So whose place?
We're keeping each other
Who-
safe.
Whose place do you guys go to?
Ash's is probably admittedly kind of dirty. Not like dirty, but there's probably
Like
like
messy.
messy. It's probably messy. So now Cheryl's probably pretty aware of that too. So if Cheryl wants to be in a familiar, cleaner environment, then it should be Cheryl's. If Cheryl doesn't care about a little bit of the mess, then it can be Ash's.
Yeah, Cheryl probably doesn't live on campus, so if you're within walking distance,
Okay, yeah, Ash is on campus, so yeah, it can
then
be. It can be
then she'll
Ash's.
join and just go. Do you have any imbibements at your apartment?
Yeah, there's beer and wine and some of Ye's cookies.
All right, I won't ask what's in them if you don't tell me.
Sounds like a
All right,
deal.
so so you guys start heading out. Julian takes that book that Danny put on the table and he starts actually going through more of the pages, and he nods goodnight to you guys, asks you to close the door on the way out, and you guys start walking across campus to Ash's dorm. So Ash's dorm is like on campus, but not. It's technically part of campus, but it's off of like the main property and in a an area that abuts like some historical homes, but the kind that are a little run down and like rented out to university students for like cheap rates. But there's also this like old it's a small little stone church that hasn't been used in like a while, and you have to pass that to get to the dorms, and it's dark, and as you're passing between this church and the start of your dorm block, which is a big building, and the door is maybe like 300 feet down, you get stopped by a gang of like 5 people. And they don't look happy. What do you do?
We really don't have time for this.
Sorry, like 5 people show up out of the shadows
Yeah.
and go like, stop right there. Like what how do they stop us? Like,
Yeah.
like
Or
what
start
is it-
snapping in rhythm. Walking
yeah,
towards
are they
you.
like coming at me like West Side Story, or what's the plan here?
I think they're going for bravado.
So they just kind of like step out and fan out type of thing.
Yeah, there's a clear leader, and they block your path, and they say, well, I didn't think we'd get lucky tonight.
Oh, we really don't have time for this. And that's like out loud with like a look to Cheryl.
Do any of them have firearms?
It's America.
Uh,
It's like,
I know, it's America. but
no, they
Who's
don't. They don't
said?
have they don't look like they have firearms. One of them, the leader goes, "I think you know why we're here," and vamps out. And the rest follow suit, and you're surrounded at the front by 5 vampires, and then like 3 more come out from the alley.
Oh,
Oh, we
And-
really don't have time for this. And then like just
well, and we're right next to a church.
Old church, non-functional.
Non-functional.
Church
Every
is a
house of
church.
God.
I was
Every
gonna
house
say.
of God. If it has its walls up and a symbol, it is still God's house. How dare you say this to me? Okay, it's a non-functional church. All right.
It hasn't
Um,
been used in like decades. It's a bit ratty.
okay. And there's no chance that running into a church will help us in this situation.
You can try.
Is there a pathway to this church that's not obstructed by vampires?
No one has blocked the alley.
Right. Well, the thing about that is, and then I'm just gonna grab Ash's hand and book it down the alley.
So you are immediately followed by these vampires, and they let me see. They're matching your speed, but they're the leader kind of tells some of them to go and like flank around the other side, and basically they kind of meet you around the other end of this church, and you're stopped, and the leader goes, "You may have caught us off guard last night, but you don't get off that easy." And they're gonna like swing at Ash.
Last night.
Wasn't last night the rampage, or was that the night before?
Oh, I guess it was the night before.
Yeah, I was like, that was the night before, I think.
Okay, then
Yeah.
the night before. It is gonna swing at Ash.
Okay.
For the sake of expediency, just tell me what you do.
Well, Ash has supernatural senses, so there's probably like a of like a little bit of a duck there, like, and it's like
Okay.
a duck and a grab, kind of.
Okay. They're grabbed and they try to like pull free from you, but your grip is pretty strong on them. So they take their other fist and they try to like uppercut you from like a kind of disadvantageous position. And I think what grab you their other fist?
Yeah, like just pretty much just try to like stop the contact and then probably like wrench and like break an arm, like try to, like that twist of just like no.
Yeah. You can tell these are very low level vampires, but there are a lot of them. So as you're fighting this one vampire, 2 of them kind of come after Cheryl.
All right. I'm going to. So as we're backed up into this corner, facing all the
Smoke
people.
bomb.
A smoke bomb rolls into view, and then
You hear a voice from the end of the alley. Come on this way.
All right. And Cheryl, with her gun out, is going to try and grab Ash, and with her mind, pull an electric line down to hopefully separate herself and the vampires with some high voltage electricity.
okay, give me willpower occultism, because it's to translate magic into strength. You would use sorcery for this one.
Alrighty, that is the second highest number I can roll, and that is a total of 21.
Holy shit.
As I take the high stack capacitor, and I'm gonna go, Oh, really hope that this doesn't arc any weird way. And she's gonna rip the cord off and hopefully like hit a bunch of them in a puddle and just go run towards the strange man in the net.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
That is what happens.
There's probably like a
Um,
momentary uncharacteristic stumble from Ash because it's like the enemy I know versus the one I don't. You know what I mean? Type of thing. It's like, ah. But there's a stumble, and Ash will follow. Yes.
So you're running towards this voice that you heard, and these vampires are like half of them are getting fried. There's still a couple in your way between you and the voice, but you're in the middle of this cloud of smoke. Ash, roll me a perception occultism.
Okay. Perception occultism. Am I okay? Where is that? Okay, there we go. Sorry. I was like, all right. I'm fine. 7.
You I'm so sorry. The vampire can like still kind of like smell and hear you. So they get a good sock in on you. It's a very like non-targeted like biff to like your upper like back jaw here. It's not enough to break anything, but like ow, it hurt and it like staggers you
Got
a
a
little
big
bit.
bruise.
Yeah. Let's see. The other vampire does not find you. So you actually skirt past them through the smoke, and you are now following where you heard this voice. And then after maybe like 5 seconds, you get to the edge of the smoke. Not even 5 seconds, but like you find the edge of the smoke and it's starting to dissipate. And Bison, are you in view?
Yeah, what they see is a little bit older than them. Just the guy's got like a denim jacket on. He's wearing combat boots. He's got jeans on. He's sitting on this dirt bike, and he has a Glock, and he's pointing it at the cloud. And he sees you guys stumble out, and he's like, "Out of the line of fire! You guys need to get out of here now!" And the second anybody like tries to get out of the cloud, like stumble or whatever, and that's not Ash or Cheryl, they're getting plugged.
All right. One vampire stumbles out of this cloud of smoke. It's starting to dissipate, so you can start to see figures in the smoke again. And the vampires, you can see just like fried vampires in the back, but there are 2 that weren't caught in the electricity. One is still kind of dazed from the smoke, but the other one gets a beat on you guys and is like coming after you.
So that is an 11 to hit, and I'm using a drama point for an extra 10 damage. So he takes whatever resistance they have to bullets, but 22.
Okay. So
It's the one that looks more okay, like the one that kind of knows what's going on.
what did I roll? He looks at you and he sees the gun materializing out of this fog of smoke, and then he sees your face. Your very like intense face, and he's like, okay, this isn't worth it anymore. You can see that like in his eyes, and he's just like, nope, and he like books it to the side. And he's like, he definitely like, you hit him like kind of in the shoulder, so he's definitely vampires don't bleed, but like his shoulder is like
Shatter the
slouching
collar
a
or
little bit.
clavicle.
Yeah, yeah. He's like holding his arm and he's like, nope, this isn't worth it. You can tell he's like, he wasn't prepared for like guns and electricity and stuff like that. So there's basically just this one kind of incapacitated vampire left in the alley behind the church, and then it's you and Ash and Cheryl.
Ash is gonna throw a wooden stake at like literally just like you know, just like
Make me a strength getting medieval roll.
perfect. That will be a 12.
You said you were throwing it at the vampire?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you dust him. He is
The
so
one that
now
was
it's
running.
just
Yeah.
yeah, the one that was running is just goes into the night and off on the breeze. So you guys are alone on the street at night with this guy who just helped save your ass.
And fired a shot.
And fired a shot. Yeah.
Fired a... There's a moment where Cheryl just thinks back to Ye going, we don't shoot guns because it's loud. And although she has like just such fierce admiration for this man who just opened fire on his dirtbag, probably put her pistol down and go, well, that's quite an entrance that you made there.
His eyes stay on the alleyway. The pistol lowers, but it doesn't leave his hand. He takes his finger off the trigger and looks to Ash and Cheryl, and it's just, you two are okay?
Yeah. Thanks.
Didn't get bit? No bites?
No.
No, I'm fine.
Puts the gun, behind his back. Turns off the dirt bike, and what was I gonna say? Crap. Just he goes, I heard about the girl on the news and I thought, hey, let's keep the streets safe, wander around. People don't do things when there's eyes, and I didn't know the gates of hell were going to open up. And it's just, he sort of looks at them and is like, I understand that you know what we just dealt with.
And I understand that you understand that, but how, and maybe not here. Cause
Yeah, like a Waffle House. Are you hungry?
I could go for a coffee.
oh,
It's gonna be a long night.
it speaks my language too. Like a
I'm
gun for
Jack.
Cheryl, a gun for Cheryl, coffee for Ash, say less.
He's just like, I'm Jack.
Does Cheryl say anything? Because Ash doesn't, not right away.
Yeah,
Not right away.
Cheryl's trying to do a little bit of a vibe check. Does Jack have any points in attractiveness mechanically?
No, I would say
All right.
he's average looking to the point of almost being forgettable.
Okay,
Wicked.
because
All
both
right.
Ash and Cheryl have attractiveness points, just FYI.
She's gonna go, well, seeing as you saved our bacon. My name's Cheryl.
You get a firm handshake.
Do Ash's little, wigglies
you're like,
go off at
you're-
all? Yeah. Does she have any Wiggins?
Make me perception occultism.
Okay. I feel like she has something that gives her a boost to that, but where is this?
There's her Slayer sense, but
No, I know. Yeah. Oh no, I took resistance instead. Never mind. I always forget about that. Okay. Occultism perception, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
11. 2 successes.
He's good. He's fine. He's clean.
Okay, cool. Ash is just still really confused as to how Jack knows that they know that he knows that they know that, everybody knows. But Ash is just gonna be like, yeah, thanks, Ash.
extends his hand to shake.
Ash shakes it in a weird way. Ash doesn't, that's very formal for Ash. So it's probably just like a very awkward, oh, right. Because they probably throw him
Yeah.
something like that, an initial. So it goes from this to right type of thing.
Yeah, and maybe we go to a secondary location of our choosing to avoid this.
I know a coffee joint
see.
for the zombies, referring to people who study all night.
There's probably a visible for the zombies from Ash, thinking that he actually means zombies.
It's just a couple blocks from here. If you're willing to walk.
Sure.
If
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
location that Cheryl knows, then she'll agree.
Yeah, I mean, Ash lives right here, so Ash probably knows of it because Ash is fueled by beer
Yeah.
and coffee.
Ash knows all the coffee
Yeah.
houses in walking distance of their dorm.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's party based or coffee based, Ash knows of it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
Ash will probably be like, oh, are you talking about the Daily Bean or something, whatever it's called? Yeah.
It's yeah. Pretty sure
Yeah.
that's the one. I don't usually check the names. I just check to see if the coffee's good.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
All right. So you go into the
We go into the Daily Bean. Wicked.
Okay. I think that's a good place to end tonight. Just on the way to the Daily Bean.
Bean me.
Is that I'm not gonna think about it.
A different neon sign lights up, so when it's past 9 p.m. it goes Daily Bean Nights.
Daily Bean, after dark.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
yes.
And they have a different
Yes.
menu, and they have a different like theme. Their fonts change on their menu. It's very
So fun story. When I played a game of this with some of my friends, our GM created a gothic coffee house called the Dark Roast.
Ooh,
I love it. I
free
love
All
business
right.
idea.
it.
So you know what? I'm gonna ask for one more thing.
Sure.
Is the walk to the Daily Bean after dark awkward and silent, or do you attempt to make conversation?
I think, yeah, Jack would attempt to make conversation, just basic things like, did you know the girl that disappeared? Just gentle probing, because he kind of lets loose that he's new to town, relatively new to town.
New to town. Whereabouts are you coming from?
Out west. I graduated from seminary, and now I'm the assistant associate youth pastor at the church. And he names a small church from the edge of town.
Does he have any accoutrement on him, director? That seems. I don't know how an associate youth pastor would dress, but if there's is there a cross or anything that?
I think
He does have he
yeah.
does have a small cross around his necklace, or around his neck, and there's a guitar case attached to
I was
his.
gonna say, I picture him in like a
motorcycle.
plaid shirt, maybe like a little hipstery.
Assistant associate youth pastor. What are your job duties? I can play the guitar.
So you rolled up to town with your guitar and your guitar and your motorbike
Well, I mean,
and your Glock.
pastors don't make a whole lot of money. Bike's all I can afford.
And how'd you come across the pistol?
He rolls up his sleeve, and there's a service tattoo from Afghanistan. Second Amendment. Sometimes it's just better to sleep with one.
Yeah, Cheryl's mind's racing a lot and is probably gonna go, all right. Jack from out west, who's an associate youth pastor veteran that has a motorbike. We did know the young girl that disappeared.
I'm sorry to hear that. And he just
Ash-
sort of stops and he puts a steak on the table and then puts it back. And he's like, that was my clue. You guys know something. And he kind of leans forward. So tell me about the vampires.
That's where we're gonna close it. Hurting
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just text messages between Ash and Cheryl. Cheryl being like, "Are you calling dibs? I don't know if I want to yet."
Yeah, but there's like a back and forth looks of like, God damn it.
There's like it's like a thumbs up or thumbs down depending on what he says. Like every
Yeah,
other
right.
situation, it's just the
Yeah.
hand signs of being like Afghanistan, like shows his muscles.
Yeah. Yeah. There's like a metered gauge. Guitar.
Youth pastor, like it's like a weird hot. Yeah, there's a lot. There's just a sub chain of text going on to add some levity to it.
Yay just wakes up to a bunch of thumbs up or thumbs down emojis, just in a row back and forth.
Yeah, that's probably how he gets introduced to him is in the group chat. It's just like met a guy named Jack. This is where we're going.
Yeah.
If we're not okay, like we'll check in every 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Sort of
exactly.
thing. Just keeping him updated, giving a lot of like weird stats about Jake.
Yeah.
So that'll be how
Jack.
Ye's informed.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Jack. Sorry.
By
oh,
the way,
correct, sorry.
in defense of Danny is attractive. Danny is conventionally and mechanically attractive.
Yeah, but
Everyone
is he too attractive? Is he too
needs
attractive?
to be reminded that they're not
When
hot
you-
shit.
Well, you know what? Cheryl wasn't there when they met Danny, so maybe like
She was just
Maybe
feeding
they-
off the vibes.
yeah, Cheryl's first meeting with Danny may have soured her perception of his attractiveness, but when I introduced Danny, I specifically said he is pretty attractive.
You did.
See, maybe she thought that he was a little bit attractive, but him being like, "Oh, I just kill people that don't matter," maybe crackheads.
negging him.
Immediately, Cheryl was like, "Oh, the most ugly person on the face of the planet. Fuck this human."
Just negging him.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, let's do some thank yous. So every Monday, or every Monday that we can, we gather here to
Right.
play this wonderful.
I was just saying.
I'm waiting for somebody to. We gather here to play this wonderful game, and I am so delighted to have these people as my players. So thank you, Eddie, for bringing Cheryl to this table. because Cheryl constantly has me on my toes. Cheryl gives me the most mental exercise of this entire fucking game.
You should all watch The Accountant with Ben Affleck. It's actually not a bad movie. It's strangely one of the first depictions of a main character with that's on the autism spectrum. And it was a very interesting watch. Just as another takeaway from this evening. So you get some good visuals for that scene with Cheryl.
Oh, okay.
I could definitely see Cheryl's hyper focus over 9 hours of.
I rolled that. I rolled a 9 and I was like, that's so many hours. Thank you, Mana Queen. Ash is such a good character with so many layers and so much depth, and I want to just crack her open and see her vulnerable side. Their vulnerable
Crack
side.
them open. Yeah.
Crack them open.
Not a girl.
Not, I
Sometimes.
know. I was good, and I used they them in my notes and everything.
Listen, we'll get it. We'll get it. They're getting there. They're getting there.
Yeah. Again, like, I apologize. But and last but not least, thank you, Bison, for joining our game and for bringing Jack to this crazy hellscape of a city. And meeting this crazy hellscape of Scooby Gang.
Scooby Gang.
Yeah. 2/3 of the
Gang.
scoops. This will be fun.
2/3 of the Scoobs. You'll probably be in for a treat when you meet Ye. So also thank you, producer Kevin, and thank you, everyone in chat. We always have a great time in chat. Thank you, everyone who is watching on YouTube in the future or on the VOD in the future. If you made it this far, give the channel a subscribe, give the video a like, add some comments. We love to hear what your thoughts are. And last, but I've said this like 3 times already. Last but not least, please be nice to each other. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, director.
Thanks,
Bye.
Chris.
Aw.